switched up the sidewall pattern a little bit from the last time I strung this up. One thing you'll notice here, if we go from this special interlock, or this special knot right here, over, that's where the big diamonds start. We want to string the sidewalls to place the pocket where these big diamonds are. And by that I mean you place a pocket or you add depth to a pocket to create a pocket by placing more diamonds closer together on the sidewall rail. So like I'm not going to space any of these out. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a special knot, and then 6 special interlocks in a row. That's 7 total diamonds together on 7 consecutive holes. No matter what mesh you're using, I mean, as far as like if you're using standard 10 diamond mesh, that would form a pocket, right? That's a concentrated number of diamonds concentrated together in a very small area of space. They're not spaced apart like they are up here to form the channel. So just a little bit of a review. We create tension in the pocket by spacing diamonds out on the sidewall rail. So for example, this is the entire top third of the sidewall rail, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mesh diamonds in the entire top third. Then we go to the middle third, and we've got at least 7 mesh diamonds right together, right? So this is going to create tension, and this is going to create depth for the pocket. This mesh already has a way that it kind of, I guess, like wants to be strung, if you think about it that way. So wherever these big diamonds are is where you need to put together or group together your mesh diamonds on the sidewall rail. For that matter, I've got special knots, I've got special interlocks, and I've got floating diamonds on the bottom so that the ball doesn't sit real low in the throat because I'm just not that kind of player. So that is another thing to keep in mind when stringing warp mesh. You don't need to stack diamonds or do any sort of crazy advanced stringing techniques. It works best when things are simple. I will admit that I tend to get pretty experimental when it comes to stringing, and I do a lot of things that maybe I don't need to do, but that's just kind of my approach. But with this mesh especially, again, because the diamonds are not all the same size, this mesh is going to be pretty sensitive to what you do on the sidewall rail. Maybe more sensitive than your standard 10 diamond mesh, where you can, do back-to-back stacks or something like that, and it won't. It'll work. This won't work as well if you do that. I'll do the other side, and then we'll talk about the channel, bottom string, all that stuff. Both sidewalls strung, we can get a better idea of how the pocket is going to look. So you see here at the I guess the apex, the highest point of the pocket, if we look at it this way, right, that's the end of the big diamond. So this big diamond right here in the middle is one of the last of these big diamonds. So I want the ball to sit essentially here or higher. So I have most of the bigger diamonds a little bit further up than midway on the head. The ball will not comfortably sit in this bottom third of the pocket, and that's what I want. I want the ball to sit here, and then when I'm loading up or winding up for a shot, I want it to be able to move up here. Normally with normal mesh, you would string those instructions for the ball, I guess if you want to think about it that way, into the sidewall pattern with the sidewall string. Since this mesh has a place for the ball to sit already, we just want to make sure that we put that place wherever we want the ball to sit. So it's more about placing these big diamonds kind of up vertically whatever position you want them to be in. It's more about that than it is about stringing the sidewalls for the sake of forming the shape and the performance characteristics of the pocket. Really, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 center diamonds going up and down the middle, these have all of your pocket characteristics. These have your pocket shape and placement. You could maybe stack some diamonds and make the pocket a little more defined, but I think more of a bag just suits this mesh and these big diamonds better. So I kind of think about this in some ways like a traditional pocket. Same thing with a traditional pocket. You get the most, in my opinion, out of a traditional pocket by stringing more of a baggy, less defined pocket, because you allow the leathers and the crosslace to touch the ball, and you allow the density of the ball to push through that material. And that's where you get that feel that you only get from a trad. So this is similar to that in that, like, yes, you have two different shapes and two different sizes of diamonds here in this mesh, but I don't want to make a super defined pocket because I got 10 diamonds. I mean, it takes up a substantial amount of the mesh. So I don't want to just define all of these diamonds in one area. The pocket's probably going to be too deep. This pocket as is, I had this strung before and I pounded it out, and the pocket is probably maybe 7/8 of a ball deep, or at least it was. I'm probably going to put the bottom string a little bit lower. But so I guess the point of what I'm saying is using all special interlocks or floaters on the sidewall rail, wherever you want to place your pocket, the ball's resting spot, it's best to just do that as simply as possible and let the mesh and what it's made to do sort of come through. Like, think about like cooking a high quality steak, right? Where you don't want to put 1,000 types of seasonings and a bunch of ingredients on it, right? If it's high quality steak, then that should be the main thing, right? You don't want a high quality steak that tastes like butter or that tastes like garlic, right? It should taste like steak and maybe have some other flavors with it, but we don't want to drown out the flavor of a high quality steak by putting a bunch of other stuff on it, because that's the point of getting a high quality steak. So this mesh is made to do a certain thing, and so we want to follow that. We want to string this mesh so that it can do what it's made to do. This won't be a very fun tool or very fun to play with or very effective if you try to fight it. There aren't enough of these rows of small diamonds to have them take up most of the pocket, and they're both, top and bottom, and the big diamonds are in the middle. So there's really no way around them. I would say maybe this mesh is not for everybody. It certainly doesn't do anything. I'll cautiously use the term special. It's more of it's an alternative to your standard 10 diamond mesh. And I do think that those are important in lacrosse. Candidly, I'll say that in a game that mattered a whole bunch, if I brought 2 sticks with me, definitely one of them would be strung with 10 diamond mesh for sure. I wouldn't confidently go into a game with 2 or 3 sticks all strung with this stuff, mainly because I haven't played with it that much, and also just because I think now we know what works. That doesn't mean that we can't change it up and learn from stringing with other types of materials. This mesh with the small diamond mesh rows has 8 diamonds going across, and then on the rows with the big diamonds, I guess it has 6 or 7. So yeah, make sure you pay a lot of attention to what these diamonds are doing. Also, I'll do it from here. Make sure that these big diamonds in the center are on the top and in the middle of your channel. So it kind of has a built-in spell check, kind of, right, to make sure that you've done the sidewall strings the same on each side. Because if this is slanted to one side or another when you look at it from the channel view, then you know it's because your sidewalls aren't the same. So yeah, those are just a few notes. When stringing this mesh, the pattern is pretty simple. So it's a 8 diamond top string on the second hole, and then you're going to start with a loop start and a tie on the third, skip special knot, skip special knot, and then you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 special interlocks, 1 over a skipped hole, 1 over a skipped hole, 1 over a skipped hole into the tie-off.